Now let's go on to the negatives.
And, okay.
Yeah, there were some negatives with this film. I mean, it was not meant to be a perfect film. Although they did try.
Paradox probably has the worst evil plan execution in the history of Yu-Gi-Oh! Villains.
It's a great idea on a piece of paper, but when he actually did it, it made you wonder. If his intention is to stop duel monsters, he could have went way, way, way back.
Did he forget about Pegasus' expedition to Egypt?
He could have killed him there. But according to the manga, duel monsters would have been created anyways. That's fate. So, considering that, Paradox would have went really back in time.
Yeah, so he would have to go all the way where monsters were in harmony with humans in Season 4 of the original series.
But of course that's filler, but I'm not complaining.
Yep. And number 2. Why does Paradox have to pull a Yami Merrick?
Now, I'm not one to nitpick this. I mean, this is totally Nephi's nitpick, but I can understand his reason. The reason being is because later in the film, later in the duel, to say the least, he merges with his dragon. Here's the images to prove it. He merges with a dragon. How many times have we seen that before? Oh yeah, Yami Merrick merging with his god. Where have we seen this? Oh yeah, Darts merging with the Leviathan. I mean, he's pulling like a lot of cliches that villains have done in the past. I mean, it's nothing special. And he pulls out the weirdest fucking faces you'll ever see. I mean, seriously, they creep the shit out of me. Just look at these. Ugh. Let's just move on.
By the way, in terms of continuity, why is this film centered on Yusei in the first place? Because, looking at the title, you see the original font for both the English and the Japanese version. But instead, the movie here seems to be about him.
That's a problem I had with the movie. I mean, I don't mind 5Ds. That's actually one of my favorite Yu-Gi-Oh series, close to Duel Monsters, if you ask me. However, the movie concentrated way too much on Yusei, and there were a lot more 5D characters than there were GX characters. In fact, it was only Yubel and Dr. Banner and Pharaoh who were the only GX characters, but yet Alexis, Chaz, Cyrus, Zane, and all the others didn't make a freaking appearance at all. And, of course, with Duel Monsters, it's even worse. We only had Pegasus and and Grandpa. Where was Joey Wheeler or Tristan Taylor or any of those cool guys? They were nowhere, which pisses me off, because I haven't seen Joey Wheeler in years. Ugh.
Seriously. And like, Joey or Junayuchi is like the best comic foil.
Yeah, he was comic relief. He was the best comic relief character that came to be. And he was nowhere in this film, which kind of saddens me. I guess Professor Banner, or whatever the hell his Japanese name is, I can't remember. But anyways, he probably filled in for the comic relief of this film, but I wish Joey Wheeler was in this film. Or hell, Kaiba. Fucking Kaiba! I mean, think about it. Kaiba was in GX. I mean, yeah, it was a short gimmick, but he was still in GX. He was nowhere in 5Ds, but his corporation still existed. And Kaiba was nowhere to be seen, which disappoints me. Come on! Oh, and here's a minor nitpick. Why didn't Paradox perfect that attack name, like Burst Stream of Destruction? He didn't yell it epically. I was disappointed with that, because Kaiba, every single time he says that, he does it epically. It goes like this. Or something like that. It was epic. But that's just a nitpick I have.
Or, White Lightning Attack!
Yeah, something like that. But anyways, yeah, the movie does center around Yusei. I can understand why, because it was his destiny to save everything, but really, I wish there was a slight more focus on the other two series as well. Had it got more time, I'll get to that in a little bit. Music. Well, the Japanese soundtrack is good, but I felt there would have been more songs that would have fitted some scenes.
Well, my favorite music placement was when it was Yami Yugi's turn. They played on Passionate Duelist.
Although it was the GX version, which is something I have to talk about. None of the original Duel Monster songs were used in this film. I don't know if this was for copyright reasons, but whatever. But still, the music selection was okay, but there would have been better choices in some scenes. Like, there were some songs that were slightly unfitting. But the US soundtrack, I don't know. How do I say this? It's just that the soundtrack of 4Kids shows or movies in general are not that good. Okay, movie-wise, they're good. Like, Pokemon the first movie is a great example of this. However, the music here is a bit bland, if you ask me. Except that one music cue that played when Yusei was surrounded by his friends. That was epic. With the chorus and everything, but for the most part, the music was a bit bland, if you ask me. Although I did forgive 4Kids for having moments of silence. That was good of them. Let's talk about the late. This is just a slight nitpick. I'll get to the jokes for last, but the late was only 49 minutes, excluding the recap. Don't you wish there would have been more? I mean, had there been slightly more time, we would have been able to see more characters from the other two series. But sadly, that's just a nitpick I have. And finally, let's go to the jokes. We saved the worst for last. The jokes. Oh my god. These jokes almost killed the movie for me, but I wasn't like going to judge the movie just around these jokes, but these jokes that 4Kids threw in weren't that good. Probably my all-time quote-unquote favorite was this one. Wow, you know, I've seen a lot of big monsters in my life, but that big behemoth definitely takes the cake! And it probably ate it too. It was really off character for Yusei to throw in a joke. I can understand Jaden, but Yusei? No. Just no. That was horrible. It was really bad. I mean, there were some moments where it kind of made sense to make a joke, like, let's see, Paradox being impatient. Oh, how touching. Now make the move! I like that scene, but the other jokes, not that good. But it almost killed the movie, but fortunately not too much. Now let's end this review with, well,
a final verdict. Now, it's better than the last film, but at least it's better.
Yeah, definitely.
And I actually hope it releases 2 versions because, let's see, the last film didn't have 2 versions, so I was kind of pissed at that.
Let's see, the UK release got 2 versions, and we're waiting to see if the US version has this as well.
While my minor nitpicks would be on what Paradox been doing, at least he's a decent villain that actually kills people. Mm-hmm. Well, actually, Yami Merrick's the first, but
still,
you get my idea.
Someone who actually succeeds on his plan, just like Kefka. Instead of failing. Seriously, we haven't had villains like that in a while.
Yep.
There were always villains who almost had their plans work, but here, his plan fucking worked. But because of Yusei, that backfired. Oh, and by the way, this is something I have to bring up about Paradox. He dies at the end. Enough said. This movie was way better than the 2004 one. Well, at least the US version. I did like the Japanese version of that film. But, to be honest, this satisfied everything I love about Yu-Gi-Oh! And I'm so glad that 4Kids dubbed the movie the way they did. Because I thought they were going to screw this up, but I was plenty surprised that they didn't. And, okay, the jokes may have almost killed the film, but I'm not that nitpicky. So, my final verdict? Go see this movie if you're a Yu-Gi-Oh nerd. Or a slight fan of Yu-Gi-Oh. Go watch this. You'll be pleased.
I'm Kevin Lee.
And I'm Angry John.
And see you later, fools.
Good night, everybody!